Good morning, everyone. My name is Miral Patel. I am a Senior Consumer Safety Officer within Office of Pharmaceutical Manufacturing Assessment, which is a sub-office of OPQ under CEDAR USFDA. Today, I will be happy to talk on some considerations for ensuring quality of pharmaceutical manufacturing data, a regulatory perspective. This is a standard disclaimer that this presentation reflects the views of author and should not be construed to represent FDA's views or policy. Everyone deserves confidence in their next dose of medicine. Pharmaceutical quality assures the availability, safety, and efficacy of every doses. The main topic of today's talk is on data governance systems. What is data governance and why it's critical? Data governance system is the sum total arrangements of data which provides assurance of data integrity, irrespective of the process, format, or technology in which the data are generated, recorded, processed, retained, retrieved, and used. The data must need to fulfill the requirement of ALCOA plus principles, which is ensures an attributable, legible, contemporaneous, original, accurate, complete, and consistent throughout the data lifecycle. The data governance systems ensures the controls over the data lifecycle which are commensurate with risk, ICH-Q9 principle. For ICH-Q9 principle, the evaluation of the risk to quality should be based on scientific knowledge and ultimately linked to the protection of patient. And also the level of effort, formality, and documentations of the quality risk management should be commensurate with level of risk. So data governance system helps the firm understand their data, including its quality, integrity, and how it can be used. Data governance systems should address data ownership throughout the data lifecycle of the product. Absence of data governance systems may indicate uncoordinated data integrity systems with potentials for gaps in control measures. As a pharmaceutical manufacturer, your job is to generate data. Data governance becomes very critical. There are five main elements of data governance systems: data quality, data availability, data usability, data integrity, and data security. For each element, I would speak about why it's important. For data quality, which ensures data are correct, consistent, and free of noise that might impede usage and analysis. Data availability ensures that the submitted data are available and easy to consume by business functions whenever it's needed. Data usability ensures data are clearly structured, well documented, and labeled, enables easy search and retrieve. Data integrity ensures the data are attributable, legible, contemporaneous, original, and accurate. Data security ensures data are classified according to its sensitivity and defining processes for safeguarding information and preventing data loss or leakage. The controls behind data governance systems that are appropriately designed to validate a system for its intended use address software, hardware, people, and procedures. Under people and procedures, which includes instructions for completion of records and retention of records, any SOPs, which is including change controls, non-conformance CAPAs during production or in the lab when you are performing your GMP activities, training of the staff. Are you well documenting those training records, documented authorization for data generation and approvals? So anything you are governing at the site, including your SOPs, your policies, procedures, training records, your non-conformance change control CAPAs, all goes under procedural controls. Under people, it includes adequate training of the employees, GMP training, authorization to do the job, periodic surveillance or self-inspection of the processes, what people performed, routine data verifications, daily or batch-to-batch verifications that goes under people skill. About technical controls, I'll speak little later in the next slides. However, when any of one of these four controls are found to be questionable due to data integrity concerns, the ability to demonstrate GMP compliance becomes very difficult. So FDA recommends you implement appropriate controls to manage risks associated with each element of the system. If something is not documented, probably it never happened or conducted. Appropriate documentation plays very critical role. There are two main regulatory cornerstones, data integrity and data quality. Under data governance systems, data integrity and data quality are interdependent as data integrity assures the data quality. Data integrity refers to the validity of data in terms of complete and accurate, while data quality refers to how good your data are. Quality should be built into the product, not to be achieved by testing the products again and again. Data quality indicates how well data aligns with its intended purpose, and it's essential for making informed decisions, improving operational efficiency, ensuring compliance, and supporting data-driven strategies. Poor data quality can lead to erroneous conclusions and inefficiencies within an organization. Weaving data integrity and quality both together are the result of well-designed organizational practice. How to ensure quality in application submission? We as an FDA rely on the presence and complete accurate data information submitted in an application submissions for regulatory review. The submission should accurately represent what have exactly happened during manufacturing and testing of the drug products for the bio batches and registration batches under GMP environment, and exactly represent what you want to do for proposed commercial batches, testing and test results, or any other activities performed or associated with an application. Data integrity breaches could cast doubt on all results and records which are submitted. Data provided in drug application must be reliable and trustworthy. Data integrity failures could be intentional or unintentional, however, it is GMP violations. It is not an isolated issue, it is a systemic issue from the firm. Data integrity applies to all GMP activities which are performed for manufacturing of drug product, drug substances, and testing of drug substance and drug products under GMP environments. Some risk factors for DI issues also includes overseas testings and manufacturing, supply chain, outsourcing of operations including QC labs and manufacturing, which includes contract manufacturing organizations and contract testing labs, data review practices. So in consideration of increasing use of electronic systems without commensurate understanding and implementation of risk-based controls, in case of electronic and the paper batch record, you want to make sure that are you in placing any controls to prevent data integrity issues or detecting any data integrity issues. Quality related informations in an application submission. As we all aware that module 2 and module 3 is full of CMC informations which are for review quality related informations, which includes quality overall summaries for drug substance, drug products, as well as module 3, which consists of specifications for drug substance, drug products, test procedures, data, pharmaceutical development reports, production and process records, including registration batches or bio batches, as well as proposed for commercial batches, including drug substance and drug products, container closure systems, process controls, including IPCs, CPPs, CMAs, critical material attributes, and regional informations in regards to the exhibit batches. Underlying data are maintained at the facility where it's generated or manufactured or tested. To fully understand the concepts of data integrity of the drug product manufacturers, who needs a clear picture of what comprises data. Examples of data includes charts that are recorded with the informations, paper and electronic lab notebooks, product release and approval informations, batch release documentations, NEC of phase, instruments printouts, and computer-based data. Data includes data streaming from laboratory and data supporting a regulatory submissions in addition to any data which are generated to support the application. These are the common indicators which are listed per observations commonly we have seen upon inspections at the site or pharmaceutical firm. And on right hand side I have listed here some citations based on 21 CFR 210 to 11 A very first common observations for the citation we have seen is 211-192, which is a firm failed on adequately performing investigations or root cause analysis on OOS or abrupt results. The second common citation we have seen is for 211-68, which is for mechanical, automated, and computerized systems. Upon initial reviews of submitted data for an application submissions and initial facility assessment, if there is a need of pre-approval inspections based on the facility to make sure the commercial capabilities, we do perform pre-approval inspections. If the facility doesn't have prior FDA inspection history, if the facility doesn't have prior experience in manufacturing such complex unit operations or product, if there is any doubt from the submitted data from an application submission, we do perform pre-approval inspections. There are four main objectives of pre-approval inspections. The first one is readiness for commercial manufacturing. Under first objective of PAI, we do make sure that the submitted equipments and facilities which are ready for commercial manufacturing are they qualified enough. And when exhibit batches were manufactured, those equipments were qualified at the time of manufacturing. We also make sure the avoidance of contaminations, material handling, process feasibility, as well as relevant personnel training and knowledge product. Under conformance to applications, the second objective of PAI, we do verify that the formulation, manufacturing processes, manufacturing analytical testing, test data, test methods, and proposed commercial batch records as well as exhibit batch records, including the entire CMC section, whether it's conforming to the application submission or not, with consistency. Data integrity audit, the third objective of PAI, under that we do make sure that the submitted data are attributable, legible, contemporaneous, original, and accurate, and perform at the time of and recorded at the time of performance, to make sure that it fulfills ALCOA principles. Also, under fourth objective of PAI, commitment to quality in pharmaceutical manufacturing, which is in regards to maturity of pharmaceutical development program. So under fourth objective of PAI, we do make sure that does the firm includes development studies to identify and determine the quality of product? Does the development program provide comprehensive process knowledge for reproducibility in terms of manufacturing? A systemic program that describes the different stages in developing a process and effective transfers for a commercial scale process to facility. Also, we do ensures that the firm's commitment to quality during development, senior management commitment to quality. So these are the objectives of PAI, and as we all know that all are dealing with data, application submissions as well as pre-approval inspections. So data governance systems for a pharmaceutical site or firm becomes very critical, and the depth of coverage is risk-based per ICH-Q9 principle. If there is a risk, definitely we deep dive into and ultimately link that risk to patients' safety. As I talked earlier about some controls related to data governance systems, which includes software, hardware, people, and procedures. So software and hardware goes under technical controls, which includes any automation or computerized systems and the use of technologies which provides greater control for data. Those needs to be validated and qualified for performing a job, meaning computerized systems associated with any unit operations or labs needs to be qualified and validated for an intended use. The data generated from such systems are not reliable if they are not qualified and validated enough. So FDA recommends that you restrict the ability to alter any specifications, process parameters, data, or manufacturing or testing by technical means whenever it's possible, by limiting the permissions to change settings or data. I'll just put an example of laser drilling operations, which is an automated operations, computerized systems associated with laser drill or laser drill machines in productions. So when access controls, which is not adequately given, between operator, a supervisor, and the administrator. If operator is given with more than operator level of access, they are able to alter the recipe because they are supposed to enter the recipes which is given per the batch record. Once the recipes feed into the machine through HMI, if they are capable enough to change or alter the recipe in terms of process parameters, which would affect directly on in-process controls, which is laser drill, depth, and diameter, which has a direct impact on drug product CQAs and eventually product performance, which affects patients. So those kind of controls needs to be adequately maintained. Also on the case of data storage capability of those electronic systems, those electronic systems needs to be qualified enough per 21 CFR part 11 to adequately perform data storage history file, as well as electronic audit trails. Everything needs to be captured in order to make sure and check that there are no changes been performed by anybody else, right? And also during productions, if there is a wrong recipe parameters which is outside of validation state, all changes within the design space, you want to make sure. If not, does your SOP allow to perform the change within that design space? If not, are you creating any change control to alter the parameters? So again, your adequate documentations would play a role here. Role of operator, supervisor, administrator. If security is enabled and audit trail is turned on, the audit trail is written, captured by the system during an operator event that changes any process parameters. So per 21 CFR 68, which in regards to automatic, mechanical, and electronic equipment, controls must be in place to mitigate such risk to patient safety when computerized systems are associated. Here I have listed a citations per 21 CFR to 1168A on the left hand side, and on the right hand side an example where the firm failed routinely calibrations of an automatic, mechanical, or electronic equipment or other types of equipment. So it needs to be adequately calibrated according to the written programs in case of electronic equipments or any mechanical equipments or automatic systems associated with labs or in the production. Here I have listed another citations per to 1168B, which talks about appropriate controls over computerized or related system needs to be exercised by authorized personnel only, where in case of, as I told you earlier, the example of laser drilling operations, where a firm must have a written procedures to define access controls for operator, supervisor, and administrator. If the firm failed to give operator level of access to operator where they have ability to alter critical process parameters, then there is this citation will play a role, because those are critical process parameters on product performance and eventually patient risk to patient. So they have to make sense from a patient risk perspective. Here I have listed a citation of 21168B, which is from 2016 to 2020 from 5 years time point in top 5 list, which was nowhere within the list of 1 to 15. However, in 2020, we have observed that 21168B becomes more prominent, which is likely represent FDA's continued focus on data management and integrity, particularly for electronic data, both in manufacturing and in the lab. The topmost observations we have seen upon inspection is to 11192, which is invalidation of original data. There must be a valid documented scientific justifications to exclude data from quality unit decision about conformance to our specifications, because commonly we have seen the firm is not adequately performing investigations and root cause analysis based on scientific justifications and repeated observations. Upon inspections, we have seen the firm citations on 211192, and they commit to perform adequate investigations and root cause analysis. Upon re-inspection, we found the same observations, repeated observations, which is very commonly seen, that the firm is not the firm is there is a failure to thoroughly investigate on adequate investigations or root cause analysis, or OOS. Here, I would like to talk about a case study, one which is ABC1, which is an applicant listed with responsibilities of drug product manufacturing and testing, including microbial and stability testing. The facility has acceptable compliance history from last 5 years. On inspections, the firm failed some in-process controls which are critical. However, in the submissions, they have selectively submitted good data, and the failed results were never reported to agency. Also, upon inspections, we revealed that the assay values on lower side, which was out of trend at the end of the defined time points. The firm invalidated the original results, which was on OOT on the lower side of the range, without having scientifically sound root cause analysis. The firm did not investigate why the first values occurred on the low side. Instead, the firm has retested a couple of samples and got values on the higher end because their SOP allows to do them. The firm can just keep testing until they got acceptable results to overcome out of trend or out of specifications value. The outcome of the inspection was we told the facility for an inadequate investigations, and we CR'd the application due to failure to thoroughly review unexplained discrepancies for inadequate investigations per 211-192. The second case study which I would like to talk on, the ABC2 applicant, which is listed for drug product manufacturing, testings and packaging, including microbial and stability testing. The facility has concerning compliance history from last 6 years, including some data integrity issues identified, also an import alert and warning letter, and there were numerous regulatory meetings lead to re-inspection of the site. The recent inspection documented failures to thoroughly review any unexplained discrepancies and repeated observations. Unofficial and unreported sample injections results could not be quantified by investigation team, and the laboratory records did not contain all data generated during each test was performed on finished products, including microbial testings. So we performed as a holistic assessment for risk assessment when the submitted data are not reliable on the pending applications and supplements which were approved. And we always had a doubt and questions that the data submitted in the submissions are not reliable. So was DI issue a systemic or an isolated issue, because it was affecting on multiple applications? And approved applications, including some supplements where the DI issues were present at the time of manufacturing of those applications when we approved, and it was misled to agency, and the applicant proposed to withdraw the drug product manufacturing site ABC2 as the site has data integrity issues. So, and proposed a new drug product manufacturing site. So as a reviewer, we perform a concurrent and parallel holistic assessment between different offices for inspections, compliance, and manufacturing assessment. We evaluated the comparison of data between on-site inspection and application submissions, as well as additionally, we requested some to assess some validity of the submitted data in the final applications, and we also requested third-party forensic assessment reports, which include summary of methods, depth, findings, and decisions. And we observed that there was a pattern or practice. Conclusions on data validity relied on a single passing results without having contextual understanding of the failing results and no adequate justification. So we had to perform materiality assessments for the data generated at the proposed withdrawal site, because the biobatches were manufactured at the proposed biobatches were manufactured at the site which the applicant proposed to withdraw. So we have to perform the materiality assessment that if the data which are generated from the original site which they propose to withdraw will not be a primary source of data for approvability of an application. If that site is withdrawn for a pending applications, the data generated has no value. So eventually, agency's assessment found that the facility lacked the appropriate quality oversight to assure the data they were generated in support of pending and approved applications, and we confirmed that those data were not reliable. The application received a CR letter due to the inability to establish the reliability of the submitted data. Applicant withdrew list of applications and they committed to amend the submissions with CMC data and the new bioequivalency data before resubmission. And so what could be the goal for remediation of data integrity issues? You have to go back and reconstruct the manufacturing processes and product quality testing through the records to provide certainty in all the records and data. Do not average any results. Keep all the results, whether they are passing results or failed results. If they are failed results, do adequate investigations based on scientific justifications, evaluate all the individual results against the written specifications, understand the material impact of the OOS, work with third party before you provide any recommendations to FDA. Re-establish FDA's confidence in the data under the review in application through corrective actions. These are the regulatory expectations found in the guidances I listed here. At last but not least, I will touch base on very important point. What are the quality expectations from regulatory point of view? A commercial manufacturing process that consistently produces a quality product, that's the biggest expectation, as well as senior management is responsible for establishment, implementation, and controls of an effective data governance systems. Data governance systems should be embedded in the quality system, and necessary policy, procedures, training, monitoring, or other systems should be implemented at the site. Data owners should share the same goal of patient first as the FDA. We also expect that to exclude any data from the original results, release decisions making processes must be well documented with scientific justifications. Data owners need to continue to work across drug product lifecycle. And at last, let us communicate, collaborate, and work together to deliver high quality drug product that meets the patient needs. I highly acknowledge my fellow colleagues for providing me valuable insight in this important discussion. Last but not least, thank you so much for your time and attention about this topic, as well as questions are welcome, I believe, at a later time. You can also provide your questions at the email address which is provided here. Thank you so much again.